The odors coming from the back of there were so bad, and it obviously was something dead.
She took their checks away from them, and then she took their lives away from them.
It's almost like a landmark in this neighborhood.
Gator lives next door to the notorious home.
And people come by and stop and look and take pictures, and they're just curious about the house.
Yeah, I lived here on the second story for about a year and a half. Really unsettling to imagine what happened here.
They've done a nice job of fixing it up, but I sure wouldn't want to buy it or live there.
It makes me want to come out more in the middle of the night and see if I see any spirits walking around.
Here we go.
Coming, just a moment. Oh, hello.
Miss Dorothea Puente? Sorry to bother you, ma'am. I'm Detective Cabrera, and this is Officer Lee.
Well, officers, what can I do for you today?
Well, ma'am, we're here regarding Ernesto de la Mora. We were told that he was last known to reside here.
Oh, well, yes, for a time. But he didn't stay long. He had lots of issues. He was not feeling well. He was the retarded one, isn't that right?
Yes, well, his social worker has lost contact with him due to his condition. You can understand her concern.
Yes, well, he is retarded. Who knows what he's up to now? They're hard to keep track of.
According to his social worker, he's schizophrenic.
Do you mind if we take a look around here, Miss Puente?
Why, sure. Go on ahead.
Anybody that argues that voices in their head was retarded in Dorothea's book, but that was just the sort of people she took in at her boarding house. Alcoholics, drug heads, homeless. She took in all kinds. It was meant to be a place of healing, not a place of judgment. Dorothea considered herself to be something of a godsend to the social working department. Where they had no place for the wretched, Dorothea gave shelter to the abandoned.
We've been working with Dorothea for years. She's always been so willing to accept people other places just wouldn't.
This office alone referred 19 tenants to 1426 F Street. In all this time, was there any kind of background check on Puente?
I would never have imagined something like this would have happened.
Because if there was, you may have discovered she was in direct parole violation, taking in elderly tenants.
She was the best the system has to offer. How could I have known? God!
Dorothea herself didn't have an easy life. She led a life that could have been the root of much sympathy. Her father died of tuberculosis when she was 7 years old, and her mother passed the following year. Dorothea always considered herself a survivor. She claimed she made it out alive from the Bataan Death March during World War II. When she was 16 years of age, she moved herself to Olympia, found work at a milkshake shop while sharing an apartment with a friend.
Why are you in such a hurry to put on that tie, soldier? I got plenty of energy left for you.
But Sherry, I already spent all the cash I got to offer. Right there and then.
Well, why don't you give him a loaner until next time, Cher? He's got good credit, don't he?
I don't do loans with no collateral, you know that. But that watch you're always fidgeting with would fit the bill.
Aw, hell, Sherry. My wife gave me this.
Hey, pal. If you were gonna see your wife anytime soon, you wouldn't be here now, would you?
It wasn't long before Dorothea met her first love. Fred was a soldier who had just returned to the U.S. after fighting in the Philippines. Double quick, the pair were married and living in Nevada. They bore 2 daughters, but sadly neither survived, nor did the marriage, due to Fred's untimely, fatal heart attack.
I didn't die of no heart attack, if that's what you've been told. As you can see, I'm healthy as a flying bird. That's Dot's idea of responsible conclusion to our marriage, I guess. Better than me splitting. She was a good-looking woman. She definitely knew how to make a buck if she wanted to. You couldn't trust her worth a spit. Almost everything that came out of that woman's mouth was a lie or a goddamn half-truth. Shit, half is being generous. She told me she survived the Hiroshima bombing. At 13 years old, what the hell business does she got doing in Japan? But like I said, she was a good-looking woman. Only she couldn't keep herself from getting pregnant. We already gone and gave away $2, and then she got herself pregnant a third time. That was the end of that.
Detective, you ought to come take a look over there in the corner. The ground appears to have been disturbed very recently.
Good eye, good eye. But it might be like a gardening thing though, huh? Right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Did we bring a shovel?
Yes, sir. A pair with spades in the trunk.
Well, let's go get them. Let's hope it's a dead dog. Would explain the damn smell.
Yes, sir.
Things were always tough for the young woman. Years have gone by that Dorothea can't even recall. Or at least she doesn't remember fondly a couple more husbands who came and left. Husbands who didn't know how to treat a woman. In the late 60s, Dorothea ran her own gateway house called the Samaritans.
That place was a money pit. Doris didn't make a whole lot of money, but she sure knew how to spend the stuff. That woman needed a new pair of pantyhose every day. She thought she was rich or something, but that wasn't the case at all. She owed about $10,000 on that haven of alcoholics. Don't think anyone could blame me for not sticking around. Not if you knew how it really was being in that situation. I mean, one day I woke up and I realized I didn't have to live in a Twilight Zone. So I left and I found the love of my life. And now we go to a movie or bowling every Saturday night. I mean, what could be better than that? It's just like, it's as good as it gets.
Dorothea finding herself working with the feeble over and over. By 1981, she had settled on it as a path of life. That year, Dorothea began renting the second-story apartment of her residency. Ruby, a friend of Dorothea, was her partner at a small business at the time. It was a lunchbox program that delivered home-cooked meals to the sick and elderly. At the time, the two were very close, and Dorothea asked Ruby to move into her large house.
Hey, Dot. Check out some of these new promotional cards I made for care boxes. This would be a pretty fun logo, huh? And look, you pull this tab and a heart comes up.
Ruby, these are wonderful. You made them yourself?
Yep, it was pretty easy.
These are great. You are
good.
so creative, Ruby. I wish my hands were as clever.
Thanks. I got the idea from a pop-up book. They're totally radical. I have a bunch of them. I'll show you sometime.
Oh, I'd love to see your collection.
Who could have suspected that the ever-cheerful Ruby secretly harbored deep-seated feelings of self-doubt and shame? It was a surprise to any that she'd take her own life in a matter of months.
Let's see, I got my notes here. Okay, so Quincy's friend Ruby's codeine overdose was in the summer of '82. And a few weeks later, Quinte was arrested for an unrelated matter. She was charged and convicted of drugging and robbing elderly people in her care. Quinte was sentenced to 5 years of jail time and serves 3. While she was in jail, she began correspondence with Evan Prudence. Evan Prudence was one of these guys that connected with people through unconventional outlets. And it was Prudence that picked Quinte up when she was released.
I would like to speak to somebody about adding my beautiful fiancée to my checking account.
Sure, Mr. Prudence. I'll find somebody to help you with that right away.
But dear, didn't you say that you have a safe deposit box here too? You should tell her that because that's probably a whole different form we have to fill out.
Not long after, Quinte hired a handyman named Hunter. Hunter was hired to build wood paneling for Quinte, as well as a wooden box to be used for books and miscellaneous belongings. The box was to be 6 feet by 3 feet, 2 feet deep. His pay was $600 in cash and keys to a red pickup truck.
Wanna
according to Hunter, Clancy asked him to drive her and this box to a storage facility. But along the way, she had him pull over along the Sacramento River to this unofficial dumping site that was popular at the time.
You sure you want to just leave your stuff here? I thought you said there was, like, books and shit in there.
It's just junk.
Oh yeah, bloomin'. Guess you read the once, you get the gist of them, huh? You don't have any boxcar children books in there, do you? Because if you do, hook 'em up, dude.
Jesus Christ. Tell me that's beef jerky down there.
I don't think so, sir. There appears to be bits of clothing.
And a pretty goddamn big tree root in a way, too. Better get down there and whip it out.
Oh no! Oh, damn it! Beef jerky, sir? Dude, the joint's sticking out of that thing.
Would either of you care for some coffee? Or tea?
Miss Puente, you better take a look at this.
Oh dear! What on earth is that?
Well, lady, it looks like a pile of corpse parts, and not dog ones.
Would you know anything about this, Miss Puente?
I most certainly do not. Do you think that's where the smell is coming from?
Yeah, I'd say that's like a culprit.
Oh dear, oh dear.
It's highly likely, ma'am.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
How many tenants would you say you got in this place of yours?
Oh, lots. About 16 at the moment.
And how many of these people would you say are psychotics?
Oh, probably most of them.
Look, we don't have any idea what's dying around here, but it's definitely something. And we need to come back with more equipment and assistance for this kind of stuff.
Ma'am, if you could maintain discretion until your tenants come back, we'd appreciate it.
Oh, of course. This would be very confusing for them.
Dorothea had been a wife, and she'd been a mother. At the Good Samaritan boarding house, she found herself responsible for 20, 30 people at a time. That's a situation that most likely would be as difficult as it sounds. Could you imagine cooking dinner for a party that large, every night? Most people wouldn't have that many people at their Christmas table.
Cats are brothers, dogs. Dogs are stupid, so cats. Well, the cats are friends of dogs.
Everyone, please, please. Can I please make an announcement, please? Dorothea, they won't quiet down.
Everyone, please settle down for just a moment. I believe Deirdre has an announcement to make.
Everyone, please, 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 please.
Somebody please shut Ernesto up.
Shut up, Ernesto, you hunchbackety retard.
Flips.
Thank you, Daisy, Dorothea, and everyone. Okay, everybody. I would like to announce the arrival of my new self-published collection of poems, Horns on the Mail, Daily Poetry by Deirdre Homel.
Can you tell me a little bit about your rant?
Well, that's about as much as I know, that book. I think there's a few other ones she made, but that's the only one I've ever seen. My mom had it lying around. She was her cousin, so I guess I was like her, I don't know, step-niece?
I think you'd be considered her second cousin.
Yeah, whatever. I'm not like a historian or anything. I don't know much about poetry. I guess it's all right. Like, okay, this is probably the best one. Dry light, night bite. Will you come by my sky sight? I want you to taste my pain.
And bring in more thunder and rain. Because these are the friends who stain with fresh natural claim, not like the disdain and vain in the human game. If you would like to hear more excerpts from my most recent work, please join me in the living room after dinner. Thank you.
Thank you, Deirdre. And please keep the uproar to a minimum if you do decide to join the book reading. Now let's eat.
Hey, what's the deal here, Dot? Where's my plate?
Oh, hello, Dean. I appreciate you joining us, but as you've been living here long enough to know our meal schedule, Dean, breakfast at 6:30, dinner at 3:30 p.m. You can't expect a dinner to be waiting for you anytime you decide to stroll in. That's how we run a community.
It's only 3:45. If there wasn't such a holdup for the damn bathroom in this clam jam, I might have been here on time.
I don't see a point being made, Dean. I made the schedule quite clear. Everybody else managed to make it work. Perhaps you do your necessaries earlier in the day rather than staying in bed until 3 o'clock in
Well,
the
let me
afternoon.
make this clear for you, lady. I don't need you to hold on to my mail for me. You just give me my mail as it comes in. I pay to live here, and I ought to be treated as a man who's paying for it.
Dean, you know very well there's a lot that goes into keeping this roof over yours and everybody's heads. Maybe you think you're living in a hotel, but you are mistaken. You don't have those options of luxury in your life. This home is the greatest luxury you can afford, and there are things that require everyone to pitch in to allow the house to continue to stay available to you, all of you. And it's not just your monthly payments, but degrees of attitude and participation.
You know what I think, Dorothea? I think more often than the heat gets turned on around here, I see you hopping around in a new dress. I'm freezing my ass off while you're playing socialite in your new Oscar de la Renta.
Sometimes when somebody would complain too much, all their belongings would be dumped in a cardboard box and thrown out in the street. That's how she evicted people. It sounds cold and she could be harsh, but I feel wrong making her sound like some kind of total monster. She was really nice in certain ways, definitely. I never really had a mom growing up, so I kind of looked up to her. She was kind of classy, the way she dressed and talked. And she was a really good cook. Really good. I have to respect that. Like, she could have her own cooking show. You know, like Julia Child. And now, back to Deadly Flavors with Dorothea Puente.
Welcome back to the show, my friends. Now we're going to change the pace and make something everybody can get excited about. My famous tomato sauce. First, we're going to start by boiling water. I have one started already, so let's go to our blender. We're going to put in the tomatoes, chopped onions, and celery. And of course, blend. And then, when the water's boiling, we're going to
Oh God!
the heat and
This is
pour
it!
out
Oh
then add some olive oil.
I knew you would finish me off, you bastard! Well, fuck you, God! Fuck you and your diaper hole! Fuck you! Oh, God!
I'm too old for this. I've only been a detective for like 2 years, but it was perfectly pleasant until this.
Where is Miss Puente, sir?
Oh, I think she went to go get a coffee at the Clariton. I don't think she wants to see this mess.
Sir?
Hey, man.
Is the seat taken?
No. Go right ahead.
Why, thank you. My name is Donna.
Oh, Darwin. Nice to meet you.
Bartender, I'll have a vodka and orange juice.
Ah, screwdriver. Hey, Neil, you should put that one on my tab.
Got it, Darwin.
Why, you're a sweetheart.
Hey, Neil, I'll take one too. So, you're from around here?
Thank you so much for the lovely chicken dinner.
Oh, yeah, you betcha. Sounds like you deserved a good hot meal after all the stuff you've been through. You sound like a real strong woman, though.
I try my best. Now remember to think on my offer, Darwin. And now that my husband's gone, I have no one to cook for.
Well,
We're two lonely souls, after all.
like I said, I think I got all I can handle, but let's go shopping tomorrow and get back some of that stuff that asshole cab driver stole, and we can see what happens.
If you say so, sweetie. Bye now.
Hey, that might not be that bad.
Police are still going through the seemingly endless body count. This is not just a murder site, it's a graveyard. The prime suspect and owner of the house, Dorothea Puente, is still at large. Police in every county in the 600-mile radius has been notified of her appearance. Dorothea Puente is about 5'6", about 50 years old.
Cabrera, you're the biggest moron I have the energy to engage with. You stumble on the biggest mass murder site in this area's history, you catch the suspect at the murder scene, and you let her hop on a train to God knows where. Where do you think this is gonna lead?
A write-up?
This is gonna be a pin.
Oh no, come on, Chief. Don't give me a personal improvement point.
That's what I'm gonna have to do at this point. This is sloppy police.
Come on, Chief.
Well, what would you do if you were
Just
in my
give me
place?
a regular write-up. I'll put it on my fridge, I swear.
Chief, sir, they got her.
Who got her?
Los Angeles.
Los Angeles again? Ah, those fancy holes.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a murder. Plain and simple. It's hard to use these words when the crimes are as atrocious as the crimes Dorothea Puente committed. But it's very clear. This is a simple matter of predatory greed. Dorothea Puente murdered her lodgers to steal their government checks. She specifically wanted people who had no relatives, no friends, no family. People who, when they're gone, won't have others coming around asking questions. Nobody who cared. But I care now. And I'm sure you do as well.
Oh boy.
They did not deserve this. And while these people were rotting in her yard, Dorothea was busy forging their signatures and living off their money. These are people who had no choice but to put their trust in her. And there were those like Evan Prudence, who made the unfortunate choice influenced by love. He wanted to provide for her. He cared for her. And what do you think he got in return? A homemade coffin, dumped in a ditch like garbage. His body was so badly decomposed, it wasn't until 3 years later he could even be identified. Dorothea Puente murdered 9 people, ladies and gentlemen. Don't turn your back on reason. Thank you.
Now, murder? Sure, she may have stolen or borrowed from these people, but that was to pay bills. Do you know how much it costs to run a boarding house? A lot. And, no, these people weren't murdered. These were old, sick people. They died of natural causes. She couldn't report them because she would have been breaking her parole. Sure, she broke her parole, but murder? No, Dorothea was no murderer. She may have committed larceny, yes. You have heard of the despair which was the foundation of her life, the anger and resentment. If anyone in the jury room tells you it wasn't that bad, ask them, would you want that to happen to yourself?
Despair, which was the foundation of my life? Now that's a bit dramatic, isn't it?
What do you want now?
Dean, I wanted to come and talk to you. I am sorry things went the way they did downstairs. I didn't want to get that ugly between us. I want us to feel like family. I wouldn't want you to feel any other way than at home here. And if I made you feel any other way, I apologize.
I mean, it's fine, you know. I didn't mean to make like a big deal or anything.
I hope we can remain friends, Dean.
Come on, we're good. We both said what we had to. It's all steamed out now.
I'm glad. And if you're still hungry, I brought a bowl of my famous tomato sauce pasta.
Your fresh baked bread, too?
Of course.
Oh man, Dorothea. You're the best.
Place tomatoes,
so
onion,
good.
and celery in a blender. Bring water to boil. Reduce heat. Add your blended ingredients. Add some olive oil, salt, and pepper. And a piece of cheese block. Place